This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Alrighty. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Feeling good, man. How are you?
Can't complain, except for the Dolphins. Really pissed at the performance the last 2 weeks. Did not see Tua just choking out like the last 2 weeks. So I'm hoping he comes back with a vengeance this week and plays well. I don't know if they'll win because they're in freaking Buffalo, but he better play well, whether it's a loss or a win. He better not be the reason why they lost. Put it that way. Is what I think. That might be the goal for Tua this week. Don't be the guy that is the reason why you lost, because that's not going to be good for the Dolphin Nation. Everybody's going to be a little pissed off. All right. I guess we got to feel pretty good in the Hurricanes Nation because it looks like the class is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the top 10 class, they got 23 commitments. They got more guys that they're expecting to land here in this week, in the week leading up to signing day, which starts on December 21st. So again, nothing official until guys sign the paperwork. I know we like to get excited about stuff. There's always last minute maneuverings and things of that nature that happen, but I think there's some confidence that this is going to be a good recruiting class. They're going to add some guys here. I think Ruben Bain, the defensive lineman out of Miami Central, is the guy that they have a lot of confidence they're going to end up getting. I know he just visited Florida State, but I think there's confidence they'll get him. He's a top 100 player out of Miami Central. Samson Okunlola, Miami's coaches are going in-house with him today. He's a 5-star offensive tackle out of Massachusetts. He just visited Florida over the weekend. There's always been a lot of quiet confidence that they were going to end up getting Samson as well in their class. But again, until paper is signed, until we see the real declarations, not the verbal commitments, etc. I will wait to see what happens on Wednesday and what really comes true and what doesn't.
How many have transferred out? How many are going to Rhett Lashley?
Well, 15 have transferred out so far. 4 of them are headed to Rhett Lashley. Keyshawn Smith, who was a 12-game starter at receiver for Miami when Lashley was offensive coordinator here last year. He's the latest to join. Jalen Knighton, Jordan Miller, Elijah Roberts, the 2 defensive linemen. So, guys that obviously those coaches at SMU are familiar with, not just Lashley, but the guys that even has on staff. So, I think this is one of those deals where that's probably the place where those kind of guys should have been. They probably should have been a group of 5 schools from the beginning. And this is just finding the right fit, finding the right coaches to help them maximize their talent. And so, that'll happen. And then Al Blades Jr., who was here for 5 years out of St. Thomas Aquinas, he's headed to Duke to go play for the Blue Devils. So, some of the former guys have found homes. I hope all of them do, because going in the transfer portal, the success rate right now is about 40% that you'll end up actually signing with another program. 60% of the guys end up having to either go to FCS or D2 or even lower. So hopefully for these guys, they're able to find a place to call home.
Let's see what happens there, bro, because that's definitely an interesting storyline. So they, with the 15 out, what's the total in scholarships that they have available?
Well, listen, the whole key here is to be at 85 come August. So you can mess with the numbers all you want, but essentially right now they're somewhere between 25 to 27, I think, available scholarships. But again, that's before you play a game. So you can actually go to camp and both spring and fall and basically be like, okay, we're over the 85. We got to get to 85 come game day. And that's kind of what matters.
All right, what's the other agenda this offseason? Anything else developing on the coaching side? I always ask you this.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, I know. Nothing that I can report so far. I mean, listen, a lot of these guys are still involved in the recruiting. Coaches that Miami fans are hoping find new places to go work. But I think this is a process again. I keep trying to tell people there's so many changes in college football now. I was looking at this stat earlier. 101 FBS coaching changes since 2018. 96 since 2019. You just go back to 2021, we've had 70. We're going to have 70 head coaching changes including some of the vacancies that are going to be filled. So it's just a rotating wheel. And, at any point when these guys get hired, there's still openings, head coach openings. Sadly, now with the passing of Mike Leach at Mississippi State, there's going to be another job opening. It's going to shuffle things even more in the SEC, which I think is going to lead to other jobs opening up around college football. So just a tough situation. And so what I try to preach this time of year is patience. If guys were really good, okay, if Josh Gaddis and some of these Miami assistants were coveted, they'd be gone already. I think this is more of a situation of will they find somewhere else to go, and who is it that Mario really wants to see leave, and how does this all sort of play out in the weeks and months ahead? I think there's a lot of time, and like I mentioned to you on Friday when you had me on, contracts. Guys got to finish those contracts, otherwise they get certain buyouts, and Miami's already spending a lot of money on a lot of these guys.
So you're telling me, or you're telling all of us, that changes are coming, but the right dominoes have to fall in order for that change to happen. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think part of this is, not having to fire guys, right? Not having to go through that process. So there's a job open up for some of these assistants to leapfrog to without having to fire them, without having to get.
Dude, if you got a guy to replace him, why are you going to worry about the politics of all of this? If that's the guy you want to replace, why would you want to bring him back just because he didn't find a home, and then you're not going to get the other guy that you really want? That does.
There's a lot of.
Is that what you're telling me, that there's a possibility that could happen?
I just think there's a lot of politics involved in all of this, and you part of it is contracts, right, and money and buyouts. That plays a role into all of this, right? How much you have to pay somebody to go away, etc. But I think for the most part, I think if there's going to be changes, A, Mario has to know already who he wants, and B, he's got to be working out whatever details behind the scenes. And I'll tell you this, though, there were 3 or 4 other guys that Mario thought he was going to get in the process last year, and for whatever reason, those things fell apart. He ends up getting Kevin Steele, basically swiping him from Maryland after Kevin Steele already moved into his office at Maryland. So like, this is why I keep saying, like, everybody wants it to be quick, fast, and it's like, I just told you, there's been 70 head coaching changes since 2021 at the FBS level, counting the 22 this year. So, I mean, that's a lot of turnover. There's a lot of messy red tape, contracts, etc. And then it's, does that guy necessarily really want to come here and deal with some of the issues that Miami's dealing with? So those are all part of this whole process. And that's why it's not happening fast.
Okay. All right. What else do we got going on the no, I'm not talking about the stadium stuff, but on the facility side, what are they working on now also? Because I think they're trying to improve some stuff this offseason, correct?
Yeah, I mean, well, they want to get started, obviously, in getting everything approved with the city of Coral Gables, all the changes, over $150 million new football facility, and there's a video online. If anybody wants to, go check that out. It's like a 45-minute video of them going over all the proposed changes in construction, etc., going on in the Coral Gables area. But yes, I mean, that's going to be a 3 to 4 year process of tearing up the land, building the new facility, putting it in place. It's not something that's just going to spring up overnight in Coral Gables. This is going to be multiple years in the making, because they're spending a lot of money and they got to go through a lot of red tape with the city of Coral Gables. So, but yes, that is the proposed plan. When they exactly start breaking ground, I don't know. I know it probably won't be for a little while longer, but all of that is in the mix happening, and Miami needs it. Frankly, they need to have a up-to-date football facility so that they can compete with all the best teams in college football.
You've been on the beat for a long time. Today, sadly, college football lost probably one of the most colorful people they've ever had in Mike Leach, and obviously a coach that a lot of assistant coaches admire. A lot of them admire his offense and his offensive mind, and a lot of players obviously enjoyed playing for this man. How close did it ever come to him becoming a University of Miami head coach?
Well, I certainly think he was interested. I think twice when there were openings here. I think once when Randy Shannon was named coach, and then another later on after everything with Al Golden sort of went down. I think there were times when he was in the running where he was a legitimate candidate to be a coach here. I think the problem was, he wanted it more than Miami did, obviously, and Leach has a place down here in the Keys that he comes and he spends a lot of time at, and it would have been really interesting to see what would have happened in Miami had he been hired instead of Al Golden or Randy Shannon, and what might have happened with the program then. I just mentioned all the head coaching changes in college football. Would Mike Leach have been able to sustain Miami into a winning program with his offense, with his high scoring offenses, and how would that have changed things? Would Miami have gotten a Teddy Bridgewater? Would they have gotten some of these quarterbacks that they missed out on over the years, guys that came out of this area, and the Geno Smith? Would they have stuck around to play here had Mike Leach been coach? Those are always questions I ask. That's a great what if article for The Athletic, by the way. What if Mike Leach had been hired, and what would have happened to Miami over the last 15 years if he was here?
Well, there you go. You got some time here in the offseason, so have some fun in the next week.
Yeah.
Pete Thamel, who obviously is well respected in your circles in college football, he just put out Mike Leach's tree.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln Riley, Dave Aranda, Sonny Cumbie, Dana Holgerson, Seth Luttrell, Art Briles, Ken Wilson, Neil Brown, Josh Heupel, Eric Morris, Sonny Dykes, Cliff Kingsbury, Ruffin McNeil, and assistants Wes Welker, Bill Bendenball, Robert Anea, Alex Grinch, and Brandon Jones.
Yeah,
pretty good list.
Pretty good list of disciples that come out of that Leach coaching tree. Absolutely right. And again, like you mentioned earlier, one of the most entertaining guys in college football. Anytime he spoke, you listened up because you knew he was going to make the conversation fun and different. And I know there's a lot of people sad across college football today. My colleague over at The Athletic, Bruce Feldman, actually wrote a book with Leach, a few years back, and I thought it was one of the better reads, better stories that you can read, regarding Mike Leach. Just all the content that's in there. I would suggest you check it out.
All right. And what else are you working on this week on The Athletic so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yes, obviously more Canes coverage coming up. I'll be at the state championships this week. You're gonna have 4 games here in Fort Lauderdale, 5 games in Fort Lauderdale. I'm sorry, and then Homestead, St. Thomas Aquinas on Thursday night. You'll have American Heritage and Central on Friday night, and then Saturday Miami Columbus plays, and then Lakeland, who has Cormani McLean. They play Saturday afternoon at 1:00. Cormani McLean, the 5-star who's coming here to Miami. So a lot of big time kids going to be playing in the state championships. I'll be out there watching that, podcasting, and actually I'm doing a lot of stuff now on Deion Sanders in Colorado and kind of what's going on there, the changes that he's making on the recruiting trail, and so there'll be a ton of content here on The Athletic.
Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. And, of course, make sure you subscribe to The Athletic because you will get a lot of material there and well worth the pennies that you're going to be paying monthly. Okay?
Yeah, I was just going to add, we just did a recruiting draft. It was a great idea from Mitch Light, our recruiting editor. We took the 69 FBS teams, counting UCF, and the other teams going to the Big 12 next year, and we actually did a recruiting draft. And how would it shake out if these guys had to be recruited, but rather drafted by the teams, the first round, second round, etc. So we did the entire first round, all 69 picks. So if you want to read about recruiting in a fun way, that was a great idea by Mitch. I actually picked for all of the state schools. I had to pick for Rutgers and Maryland and NC State and some other programs, but it was a fun exercise and a good read.
Check it out and follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, as always, thank you, my friend. We will catch up later on in the week.
All right, brother. Take care.
You got it. There you go. That is Manny Navarro. Don't forget, Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie. When you order over $99, you will get free shipping at caneswear.com.